Hello, BookTube, and I'm here to talk about Hornblower. And it's a reading project that was started by Faith in Books. I'll leave all links down below, and Mark Richardson. And it's to read one of the 11, like there's 11 books in the series and some short stories of Horatio Hornblower, written by C.S. Forster, and reading one book a month, and reading them in the chronological story order, not in the order that he actually wrote them. So the first one we read in January, I'm getting a bit late getting this out, but he originally wrote it in 1950. It's Midshipman Hornblower, and it's sort of the origin stories of Hornblower. I read it in this rough omnibus edition that has three in it. So it's basically, yeah, it's his origin story where he enters the Navy. He's very green. He's like late teens, 18, 19 years old, and he's just learning everything, and he gets seasick, which isn't the best for a seaman. But it sort of sets the play for how he is in later stories as a full adult and as a captain and eventually admiral. And it goes through like they're almost as if they're little vignettes or little short stories of little incidences that happen, and he's always in the wrong place at the right time, I guess you would say. Always something happening, and it sort of gets into his character because he's not happy. He's a morose person, and he was even contemplating suicide, so his life doesn't mean a lot to him. So he, without even fear or anything, he goes into situations that most people would go, whoa, wait a minute, maybe I'll think about this. But he just blindly goes in, well, not blindly so much, but he goes into them. And it's quite interesting. Like I say, there's little things, like it's a fanciful story in some ways of the things that happened to him, and there's a big sort of culmination at the end about his integrity on honor and giving his word, which is a bit fanciful, I think, but you go along with it for the story. And you just sort of see things like, from like in the 20th century, like, yeah, that wouldn't happen. I don't want to give too much. I don't want to give too many spoilers away for the ending. But yeah, there's a number of us reading these. There's a Voxer group. There's a few other booktubers that are doing this as well, and I believe they will be doing some videos also. But it was sort of decided to come out with the video on like this weekend for the Hornblower. So I thought I'd add my few minutes in for that. And I'm not going to, like I say, I'm not going to go too much into detail. It's just it's a great adventure story about a young lad who's learning the ways and learning about himself a lot of the time. His limits and his integrity, and which will reappear throughout the saga. So I'm looking forward to the next reading of this. I've read some of them before, but never in order. The next one is Lieutenant Hornblower, because, yeah, at the end of here, he becomes lieutenant, or near the end of the midshipman. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. If you're reading it, do let me know what your thoughts are, or if you want to be added to the Voxer group and our discussion, because we're just reading it as and when throughout the month. And then we discuss a little bit on the Voxer about what we've read. Some are reading it slowly over a longer period of time, or like myself, I'll just take I'll dedicate a day or an afternoon to read one of them, or 2 days, depending on when I start reading it. But anyway, I will see you next time, BookTube.